Rockets got their 11th straight win on Friday night, beating the Jazz 101-100. And then yesterday they were going for 12 straight, and Luka went off.
This was one of those games where as soon as Luka started hitting shots that are close to impossible for 99.9% of players, you realize, okay, well, this is how the streak's going to end. I mean, this one was over at halftime.
Yes.
It's a bummer. I don't know what you were supposed to do differently. Some people were saying, well, why didn't the Rockets double cover Ime Udoka? And Udoka had an explanation for it. But they were bound to lose sooner or later. And I think one of the healthier elements of this loss that took place yesterday, Joe, it's a bit of a reality check from this perspective. Jaylen Green's been one of the best players in basketball over the course of the last month. Jaylen Green is not Luka Doncic. Could he be Doncic someday?
No.
It's doubtful, because Doncic is one of the best players that is out there. And that is still the kind of player that you are looking for. Because you take a look at that Mavericks team. Okay, they also have Kyrie Irving. But the depth there is overshadowed by the fact that you have a guy like Doncic who can just go off and you have no chance when he's hitting all of those shots.
Yeah, you got a team in Dallas who they're so top heavy. They're pretty much the opposite of the Rockets at this point. The Rockets have a lot of youth and a lot of depth, but they lack the superstar player. The Mavericks are really two stars and a bunch of other guys, and they have some good pieces. But like Dante Exum got 18 minutes last night. I didn't know he was still in the league.
I neither.
Wasn't he out of the league for a while?
He was out of the league. This is his first year back in the league.
Okay. I thought I was losing my mind when he was.
You're on top of that.
Like I was like, he is gone. But yeah, they lose 125-107. You're right. It's one of those. What are you supposed to do? They were just absolutely the better basketball team last night than you, and it showed in so many ways. The idea of not doubling Doncic till late in the game because Ime wanted them to take him on one-on-one, the Rockets defenders. I don't hate the strategy. I would have liked to see an adjustment sooner, but he clearly had he has a philosophy and he sticks to it.
The adjustment was not going to stop him. I'm sorry. Doncic was going to smoke you.
Yeah.
That was just one of those nights where you were effed. You had no chance.
You're probably playing two of the best scoring players in the world.
Yes.
Honestly, in Kyrie Irving and Luka. They're just, when they're on and they want to get theirs, there's very few guys on the planet who can stop them.
Especially a guy like Luka, who is one of the best scorers in the league. But he's also not just a scorer. The same way that like LeBron was never considered a scorer. It's just because he's so good at passing. Really, just kind of good at everything. And that's Luka offensively. Is if you do start doubling Luka, well, now you're leaving open shooters, and guess what? He will hit the open shooter. He will do that.
They showed a graphic showing all the players in the NBA, though, that have been scoring all the points over the course of the past month. I think Giannis was number one, and guess who's number two? Luka. And there was like a 4-point gap, and then Jaylen Green's there, coming off of the best month of his career, which we hope continues on a semi-regular basis. And this is still what you're striving for. And it's unfortunate that the NBA is pretty much determined by whether or not you have a player like that, but you are still looking for a player like that. And I would say everybody out there that wants to see this young Rockets core grow together and get better together. Nope. Some of these guys are going to be great trade pieces to get yourself a player like that.
Yeah. And you mentioned that most points per game, the last however many that they showed, Giannis, Luka, and then Jaylen Green. Jaylen Green, who, by the way, was getting doubled by the Dallas Mavericks, whereas Luka was getting single cover. Now, that's a little bit different because Jaylen Green then kicks the ball out to Amin Thompson and not really worried about him at the three-point line. And Dylan Brooks, who was building a brick house with all the shots he...
Zero made buckets.
Hot and cold, I'll say, Dylan Brooks. Hot and cold.
I'd say the same thing for Jock Landale.
Jock Landale.
That was a real comeback to earth.
That was a fun couple weeks, huh?
That Monday against the Blazers was fun. He was awful.
He had 11 points. How often do you see an NBA player like Dylan Brooks?
He missed a lot of layups.
Dylan Brooks had played 28 minutes, and he had 0 points.
Well, I mean, when Brooks is cold, he is so effing cold.
He's still. I mean, maybe tonight's actually changed his 3-point percentage because he was 0 for 8. But he's like a 35% 3-point shooter. Where I feel like
I would have guessed lower.
Exactly, because all these games stick in our brain. But he also was a key part in winning the game in Oklahoma City in overtime. He made 2 threes and got a steal the first 25 seconds of overtime, less than a week ago. So it is very hot and cold. Like you said, some nights you're going to run into a guy like Luka Doncic who, before the game, is shooting a ball off of your Jumbotron and into the basket. And nothing you can do with that. Although I still stand by Ime Udoka. Someone should have shown that video to Ime Udoka of in pregame him throwing the ball off the Jumbotron and in. Maybe Ime Udoka's like, actually, let's double this guy. If he's doing this in the pregame, we got to double him. He's
that underhand shot is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen on a
Craig
basketball
Ackerman
court.
during it, going, no. Before he even let go of the ball, he was just like, no, come on.
Yeah, and there it goes. So now the Rockets are 2 games back of the Golden State Warriors. So the Lakers are playing better basketball. So they're 3.5 back of them. So it really is now just down to the final 2 spots at this point. I would imagine that the playoffs are set unless there's an all-time collapse over the next 8 games for the Lakers. But you look at the Rockets' schedule, they play the Timberwolves tomorrow night. They play the Warriors on Thursday night. So it's
a real nut check.
Yeah. I mean, you really are going from the bottom of the NBA to the top of the NBA very quickly.
You got to shake off yesterday as quickly as you possibly can. And I'm curious about how they handle the hangover of an 11-game winning streak ending like that. Because, I mean, it ended and it was just a snap. I mean, it was over so quick.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it's funny. In the past, I would have zero confidence that they would rebound in a positive way at all.
You feel better this time around?
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly.
It's more of a Udoka vibes that give me more positivity than it is the players themselves. That just Jaylen Green, also what we've seen from him during this winning streak that they had, where he would have a very bad first half and then the second half would be much improved, where in the previous 2 years it would just kind of snowball and it would just get out of control and more bad shots.
I mean, in February, I was like,
that's true. I mean. Yeah. So hopefully the team kind of has that mindset as well. We'll see.
I think we will see. I'm not as confident as you on this.
They can rebound. They can have a better performance and still lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are going for the number 1 seed. So there is a little bit of they can play better and still lose.
That's where I'm at.
Don't no show again.
I don't think the response is necessarily a victory over one of the best teams.
I think that's what Joe said. It's like, you don't think they're just going to
they're not going to roll over
now
and
the
die.
wheels are off on the rest of the season.
We're not going to see Jaylen. I don't think we're going to see Jaylen revert back to January and last year Jaylen.
But we have to remember, it's been a month.
I know.
I love it. It's been great, and they deserve a ton of credit for it. It has been a month, and this is just like with the Astros, 0-4 start. It is a marathon, not a sprint. We've seen a lot of low moments with this team, and now, I mean, they're going up against Minnesota and then on Golden State team that, at the very least, knows that the Rockets exist, even if they're acting like they don't. And it's going to be real tough.
I would just say that they don't really, like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. At this point,
it's a sprint.
It is just a sprint. You only need 8 games. It's not like they actually need to sustain this much longer. They just had an 11-game win streak. They don't have to really be sustained for that much longer.
I got you, but sometimes in said marathons, you have a stretch where you run faster than everybody, and then all of a sudden, bye.
They're hitting the
tossed past you.
You think they're going to hit the wall?
It could.
They're pooing their pants right now.
I mean,
is that what happens during marathons?
Did you poop your pants? No, I think
so.
when you poop your pants,
I think I've seen some videos on that.
Right, like it's like a little. What are you laughing at, Joe? Just
nothing.
Just
you aren't a marathoner like me.
Are you a marathoner?
No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say
I would never do that.
No,
seems boring.
That's my thought.
Well, that's what my excuse would be, but it's more my knees would disintegrate after mile 6.
Like, what happens if your phone dies on the marathon? What are you doing?
Well, that's on you.
You gotta listen to music. Yeah, I mean, what? Your phone's gonna die on the marathon? What are you watching Disney Plus and
I'm just
walking.
saying, it's a long race.
Wait, you were going to forget to charge it the night before?
That would be funny. If you wake up that morning, you have your playlist set.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Podcasts are downloaded.
14%.
What are you music or podcast if you're running a marathon?
If I'm running,
Or maybe a mix of both?
It's like 5 hours.
I have such ADD when I listen to things. I might like stop for a moment and change multiple times.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
wait, I got
I'm like, wait, this song sucks. Well, I gotta play this song again.
Or no, but podcasts are even worse because you're like, they'll be talking and then they're like, and now a second for me undies, and you're like, skip.
Yeah, you have to listen to the ads.
Just keep skipping until I hear them start talking about the Rockets again. Okay, we're back.
All right, so the Rockets' next 3 games: Timberwolves, Warriors, Heat. The Warriors' next 3 games are Mavericks, Rockets, Mavericks. So they could do you. You know, the Mavericks could
Please,
be
Luka.
who then then the Rockets play the Mavericks again after the Heat. So Mavericks are going to be the story, I guess, part of the story of the end of the season for the Rockets. I don't think they're going to make the play-in tournament. I know it's just.
I didn't want to be negative Nancy during the win streak.
Sexist.
They probably were never going to make the negative Nelly during the
also
win
be
streak.
sexist.
What?
Nelly could be a girl. Anyway, continue. So.
It's true. Nelly Furtado.
But it could also be a man.
Ooh.
Nelly's-
Why are you assuming gender?
Nelly the singer.
No, you're assuming gender.
I don't know what I'm assuming anymore.
You're assuming all sorts.
I'm making an ass of myself.
You're making an ass out of this segment. Yeah, I mean, the Warriors having the tiebreakers are going to have to be better than them.
Mm-hmm.
And so even tying doesn't help you. So they basically need the Warriors to go like, what, 3-5, and then they need to win out
Yeah.
is essentially what needs to happen. So the road was always tight. I never really wanted to, because I didn't want to rain on the parade. Honestly, what's more important is just Jaylen Green played well for 15 straight games.
I mean, they're going to win over 40.
crazy.
They're going to win over 40 games this year and miss the
Yeah.
play-in tournament. They play in the Western Conference. If they were in the East right now at 38
They'd be the
wins,
7th seed. Yeah.
they'd be locked into the 9 seed and in the play-in tournament, chasing the 76ers and the Heat.
Is there a chance that Draymond can help things out? I mean, Draymond kicked my favorite Grant Williams in the
Well, he tried.
this weekend.
Now, to be fair,
Yeah.
he failed.
Yes, like
It was a poor kick.
like Jose Abreu swing and a miss.
I mean, he still tried to do it.
Oh, he 100%
It's
did.
in there. Or maybe it's not like Jose Abreu. Maybe it's like Jordan. It was a loud out.
Yeah.
They have a history already from the finals a couple of years ago. If that was Dylan Brooks, he would have been tossed immediately.
I can't believe
There is a double standard, and weirdly, Draymond Green is the only person who is immune from
That was the
getting
thing
punished.
when the Rockets played the Warriors way back when the Rockets and the Warriors weren't fighting for the 10 seed, they were fighting for Western Conference Finals. Where like Draymond Green would just get a technical in the first quarter, like basically it's seemingly on purpose, knowing that like now I can do whatever I want because they will not throw me out.
It was basically like the Seahawks of the Legion of Boom era.
They're not going to call everything.
You can't call every single
And
penalty.
especially like in the NBA players, like they're not going to toss the second best player on one of the teams.
Man, I hyped it up last week. We need to have something happen betwing Draymond and Dylan Brooks. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be very disappointed.
It's still gonna be an important game. Like,
I agree,
like
but I
that-
want those two to fight each other.
like what I was saying way back when the Rockets' win streak was like 4 or 5 in a row, where I'm like, it is just a win that they will be playing meaningful basketball. Ime Udoka can at least sit in front of the team and lie and say, hey, all these games count. It's not like totally obvious.
Yeah.
Like at least that we still have April 4th is gonna be a watchable game that we're all gonna be interested in.
Paul Gallant will be in attendance for that game.
Yep.
Sources say.
Hopefully
Really?
they won't stop me at the
are they
gate.
not good enough anymore? They had to earn it. They had to earn it.
If they
No,
lose
the Rockets have earned my time. The Astros have lost my time.
Oh,
The Astros have lost. Now again, I'll watch the games.
Was
It's
that
my
a
job.
mutual parting of ways?
But
or-
no, like Astros were relegated to small screen TV after Friday because I had them on the big TV, and I relegated them to the small TV, and then I had the big TV on the Cougs game, and I saw Jamal Shed get hurt, and that wasn't fun.